The conference room felt smaller than usual as I sat across from Marcus Hale, my boss of 6 years. Sunlight sliced through the blinds onto the polished table where my promotion packet lay untouched. Marcus leaned back in his leather chair, adjusting his cufflinks with that practiced executive nonchalance. "Sophia, your work is solid. No one organizes data pipelines or spots inefficiencies like you do. But leadership? You're just too quiet for that. Clients need someone with presence, someone who commands the room. Maybe in a support role you'll thrive long-term." Too quiet. The words landed like a quiet verdict on 6 years of 14-hour days, weekends debugging systems no one else understood, and single-handedly salvaging 3 major client migrations that kept the lights on at Vertex Dynamics. I had built the backbone of our analytics platform from scattered spreadsheets and legacy code that nearly sank us twice. Marcus had presented my frameworks at board meetings, smiling for the applause while I took notes from the back row. I smiled the small, professional smile I'd perfected. "I understand. Thank you for the feedback." As I left his office, I walked past the glass-walled leadership suite where my name should have been on the door. In the parking lot, I sat in my car and made 2 decisions. First, I would stop being the invisible glue holding everything together. Second, I would never let someone else define my ceiling again. Before I tell you how I went from too quiet to CEO of the company that acquired Vertex, you might be wondering why so many talented people stay silent in rooms where their voices should matter most. If my story resonates, hit like and subscribe. I share career strategies every week that could shift your trajectory. My name is Sophia Reyes. For 6 years, I was the quiet force behind Vertex Dynamics' growth. Coming from a loud, chaotic family of 5 in a small Midwest town, I learned early that listening carefully often solved problems faster than shouting about them. That trait made me exceptional at my job. When I joined Vertex, the data infrastructure was a disaster. Outdated systems crashing during peak seasons, clients losing trust, executives pointing fingers. No one had mapped the workflows or documented the fixes. I did. Over 18 months, working nights and early mornings, I rebuilt everything. Automated reporting dashboards, predictive analytics models, integration protocols that saved the company millions in lost revenue. Marcus called me his secret weapon in reviews, always followed by a 3% raise and another promise of future opportunities. We just closed a massive deal with Apex Retail, a contract worth tens of millions. I'd spent months customizing our platform to their needs, learning their supply chain inside out, anticipating problems before they arose. Marcus flew in for the final handshake and took the stage at the launch event. I watched from the audience as he accepted the industry award for innovative leadership. The Monday after my rejected promotion, I arrived at 9 o'clock sharp instead of 6:45. No pre-meeting briefings, no weekend emergency patches. When a critical data pipeline failed mid-morning, I forwarded the ticket to the appropriate junior engineer with a note, "Per my role scope." By afternoon, 3 panicked Slack messages waited in my inbox. Marcus's assistant appeared at my desk. "Sophia, the Apex team is losing their minds. Marcus needs you in the war room." I walked in calmly. Marcus looked disheveled, tie loosened. "Where are the rollback protocols? The client escalation matrix?" "Yeah. Everything is in the shared knowledge base I built last year," I replied evenly. "Section 4, subsection B? I referenced it in the queue to all hands." He stared at the 180-page document like it was written in hieroglyphics. "Just fix it, Sophia. We don't have time for this." "I'd be happy to consult, but I have the regulatory audit prep due by end of day. My assigned responsibility. I was told to focus there." The room went still. That evening, I drove home and helped my younger brother, Matteo, with his college applications, something I'd been postponing for months. We laughed over burnt pizza as my work phone buzzed relentlessly on the counter. I silenced it. For the first time in years, I felt space to breathe. The cracks widened quickly. Apex threatened to pull out. 2 other key accounts hit snags only my undocumented shortcuts could resolve. Marcus called an emergency leadership meeting I wasn't invited to. By Friday, the entire floor hummed with tension. I worked my exact hours and left at 5 o'clock, waving politely to stressed colleagues. Within 3 weeks, Vertex's performance metrics tanked publicly. Investors noticed. I quietly updated my resume and began discreet conversations with a rising competitor, Nexus Innovations, a nimble company focused on AI-driven operations. I joined Nexus as head of systems architecture. No fanfare, just quiet competence. Within months, my framework scaled their platform exponentially. I spoke up in strategy sessions, not loudly, but with data-backed precision that shifted decisions. Leadership noticed. 18 months later, I was promoted to VP of Operations. 2 years after that, Chief Operating Officer. Nexus grew aggressively. We acquired smaller players, refined our technology, and caught the eye of major investors. Meanwhile, Vertex struggled. Poor leadership turnover, lost clients, declining stock. Last year, Nexus made a strategic move. We acquired Vertex Dynamics in a deal that made headlines. On the day the acquisition closed, I walked the familiar halls as the new CEO of the combined entity. The board had unanimously voted me in, citing my deep institutional knowledge and proven ability to turn vision into scalable systems. Employees whispered as I passed. Some recognized me immediately. The final integration meeting was held in the old Vertex executive boardroom. Marcus sat near the end of the table, looking smaller in his suit. His eyes widened when I entered and took the head seat. "Sophia?" His voice cracked slightly. I nodded, opening my tablet. "Good morning, everyone. As we integrate operations, I want to ensure a smooth transition. Marcus, your team's historical client relationships will be valuable during the first quarter." He shifted uncomfortably. Later, in a private moment after the meeting, he approached me in the hallway. "I didn't expect this." I met his gaze steadily. "When you said I was too quiet to lead, I decided to let my results speak instead of fighting for volume. Turns out quiet execution scales better than loud promises." He swallowed. "I underestimated you." "You weren't the only one," I replied. But I stopped waiting for permission to lead. That evening, I drove to my parents' house where Matteo was visiting. Over dinner, I told them the full story. My mom squeezed my hand. "All those late nights, you did it your way." Matteo grinned. "Quietly taking over the world, classic Sophia." 6 months post-acquisition, the combined company hit record revenue. We rolled out new talent development programs, identifying quiet contributors who reminded me of my former self. Vertex veterans now thrived under clearer processes and genuine recognition. One afternoon, Marcus, now in a senior advisor role he'd accepted to keep his benefits, stopped by my office. "The new analytics dashboard you greenlit? It's saved us 3 major accounts already," he admitted. "You built something lasting here." I smiled. "We built it, together with the right structure." Sometimes the most powerful response to being underestimated isn't raising your voice. It's building quietly until your impact becomes undeniable. I didn't set out for revenge. I set out to create value on my own terms. In doing so, the path to leadership opened, not because I became loud, but because I refused to stay invisible. If you've ever been told you're too something, too quiet, too technical, too introverted to lead, remember, the best leaders aren't always the loudest. They're the ones who listen, build, and deliver. Your time to step forward will come. Don't shrink to fit their expectations. Expand until the role fits you. If this story hit home, like, subscribe, and share your own experiences below. Next week, I'll break down the exact frameworks I used to scale from overlooked analyst to CEO. Your quiet strength might just be your greatest advantage.